All right, good evening, everyone. Before we begin, I just want to let everybody know with us virtually that we are having video problems tonight, so we'll only be with us audio tonight. So those with us virtually, hang in there. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2026, and the time now is 6 p.m., and I will call to order this regular meeting of the Town of Mead Board of Trustees. In accordance with the town's remote participation and remote meeting policy adopted by the Board of Trustees on March 13th, 2023, by resolution number 21-R-2023, remote participation will be allowed. The meeting link has been provided on the town's website and designated posting place 24 hours prior to this meeting. I'd like to remind everyone present, both in person and virtually, of the town's general guidelines for public comment at open meetings and public hearings. The guidelines are available online and on the entry table. There are 2 public comment opportunities on the agenda for persons in attendance at Town Hall to address the board. The first is limited to items on the agenda. The second public comment opportunity allows any subject, whether it is on the agenda or not, to be addressed. If you have any comments regarding the public hearings, comments will be taken during that item. Mary, roll call, please.
Mayor Whitlow.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Here.
Trustee Adams.
Here.
Trustee Cartwright.
Here.
Trustee Crane.
Here.
Trustee Hagan. Trustee Schrantz.
Here.
Mayor Whitlow, today is Monday, May 11th, 2026, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Mary. Please join me in a moment of silence for police officers killed in the line of duty. Thank you very much for your time. Please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to review and approve agenda. The agenda has been amended to add an executive session tonight regarding the Highland subdivision. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
I move to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Schrantz.
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Trustee Crane.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. We have an agenda for this evening. Next, we'll have our staff report by our town manager. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. You have my report. I just have 2 other things I'd like to mention. We did have the auditors come and go. They were here for 2 long days, but they got everything they needed on site. They have been contacting us. They still could contact any of you if any question came up. We've been able to handle most questions that they've had. So far it's looking good. So it's a good sign when they kind of wrap up the on-site piece. And then the other thing, I just want to remind you that the next board meeting will be on Tuesday, the 26th, because of the Memorial Day. Do any of you know if you're not going to be here? So. Okay. Just let me know, because we do, like I said, we've kind of been building the agenda around, sometimes if some of you are going to be out, we can strategically move, especially our information sessions, because we really like to have you guys all see it. And nobody will be able to see it tonight because our cameras aren't working. So for that meeting. Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know. And that's all I have. And then I have my report. So if you have any questions or.
Questions or comments for Helen? I want to let the board and the public know that I was contacted by the audit team and answered questions on behalf of the town of Mead. So I just want to let everybody know that I received a call and moving forward. So thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to proclamation. The first one is National Police Week, May 10th through the 16th of 2026. I've asked Trustee Cartwright to read the proclamation.
A proclamation for National Police Week, May 11th through 17th, 2026. 6. Whereas National Police Week was created to recognize and honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. And whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Mead Police Department. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, there are currently more than 24,500 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of those dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and whereas new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including officers killed in 2025 and officers killed in previous years. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 38th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2026. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of the Police Week, National Police Week, which will be observed this year, May 11th and through 16th. And whereas May 15th is designated as Police Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, the U.S. flag should be flown at half-staff. And therefore be it resolved that the town of Mead will observe May 11th through 16th, 2026, as National Police Week and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in the communities across the nation, given under the hand and seal of the town of Mead, Colorado on this 11th day of May, 2026.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
I make a motion to approve the proclamation.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Shranz,
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. All right. As soon as I sign this, would we have our police officers, our chief and commander, please come to the forum? We'll take a picture of the trustees together.
The dates.
I know.
Thank you.
All right, hands up. All right, thank you.
This one's right.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll move on to our National Public Works Week, May 17th to the 23rd of 2026. And I've asked Trustee Shranz to read the proclamation tonight.
Proclamation, National Public Works Week, May 17th through the 23rd, 2026. Rooted in service, powered by community. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the town of Mead. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public work professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children of the town of Mead to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, be it now, therefore be it resolved, Colleen Whitlow does hereby designate the week of May 17th to the 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they are making to protect our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. Given under her hand the seal of the town of Mead on this 11th day of May, 2026.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
I'll move to sign the proclamation.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Trustee Crane,
Yes.
Trustee Shranz.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. All right, while I'm signing this, can you have the trustees and our Public Works Department come up to the front so we can get a picture?
In the middle, in the middle.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate the time that you have given us to, with joy and, these departments bring a lot to our community. And so I'm thrilled to have proclamations tonight on their behalf. So thank you very much, Chief and Erica, for doing such a yeoman's job with your departments. We do appreciate it. So thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to public comment. The board welcomes public comment at this time. Yes, I'm sorry.
I believe you skipped the info items number 6.
Oh, Josh. Well, we're going to go back to 6. We just sweep right over that. All right, we're going to go back up to number 6 again. Employee engagement, and this is started a discussion for human resources manager by our human resource manager, Josh Nebel. Sir, you have the podium. I apologize.
No worries. I appreciate it. Just appreciate the time to tell you a little bit about what's
sure.
going on with your employees. Thank you so much for your time and your engagement. I think this is a really interesting, great opportunity for you all to learn a little bit and get a little insight into our staff and what's going on. So in this, I have a little bit of agenda, but it's pretty informal. What we want to do, I guess I have the clicker here. What we want to do is talk a little bit about recruiting our people, promoting our people, and then keeping our people. But I think before we start with that, I'd like to get into a little bit about the demographics of our employees. Just this will give you a little bit more information about who we are. So demographic wise, you'll see this. Our average tenure right now is about 3.5 years. Average age is about 41 years. This is kind of our employee demographics. You might look at it as employee distribution, right? So there on the left, you'll see staff years of service. We have obviously, more people in the 01 and 2 to 5 years. That's pretty typical. I think, again, this is pretty healthy, pretty average. Also, I'd look at the gender distribution and say, we're in a pretty healthy,
distribution there as well. Now, something you might not be able to see as well, and I apologize, but there's department distribution, and we actually talked just about police and public works moments ago, but there are two of our biggest departments at 30% and 20%, I believe it is. And then you have admin staff, elected officials, planning, and of course, recreation as well. We've seen the recreation team grow a little bit as of 2025. So just to give you a little bit of information, that's just a little bit on our employee demographics. Getting into the kind of the recruitment piece of things, I thought this was interesting. So you can see this spans, although it spans like 3 years, it's really 2 kind of years and a half, almost like a school year, if you want to think of it that way. But if you look, I mean, 25 is in the blue and 26 is in the yellow, and we are like, it's kind of funny. That's trending perfectly. Now, it's interesting, I think, if you would point to 2025 and you're looking at June and July and you're going, okay, why did we have some increases there? I think we're always going to see that. And part of that is because we have seasonal staff and a lot of our rec staff. This is kind of when we're probably, retooling, reopening positions. So just a little bit about the hires of the last couple years there. All right. And so our recruitment, real quick. So we use this ATS. ATS is an applicant tracking system. It's called NeoGov. It's used throughout municipalities all over. And basically, this is where we do our advertising. In fact, what they do is they use this website called governmentjobs.com. So if you've ever been out there seen governmentjobs.com, that's actually their site. They own it. And then they also have a careers page for us. So if you can see the graph here, you'll see that career pages and our government jobs, G jobs, government jobs, that's where we're doing most of getting our applications as well as getting our hires. However, this doesn't mean that we just kind of stop there. You'll see that we also do some, recruitment on Indeed, LinkedIn, and Indeed is really, and Google. You'll see those are kind of meta sites. They're just sites that pick up jobs, right? And then point back to our career site and government jobs. So kind of interesting information, just a little bit about our recruitment on that. Okay, so job application trends. So I think this is a really interesting kind of piece to look at because I don't know if you've been following much as far as like talking amongst your peers, but in the HR community, we're talking, I'm talking to different municipalities and we're talking about how the application trend has really gone up. And so you can see that our job there at the bottom, our jobs are have been pretty normal, right? There's not a huge fluctuation. Now, granted, I know that it's zero between 0 and 100, so it might play a little bit into it. But again, if you would look at it, our jobs are pretty similar year to year. However, looking at the application, I mean, again, in 2025, we've just seen this thing skyrocket. For example, for planning, I think we had over 100 applicants for that position. So we're just, and again, we're not the only municipality. It's great that we're getting this because it's quantity, but quantity doesn't always mean quality. But we're finding great people, and that's another plus to this is that we're able to find really great people. So really quickly, this says job application trend. I'd probably reword this to be actually the day that it's open. So this is when we open the position to when the position actually closes. So we filled it. So it's actually probably more of a open, an average of how many days the job was open. So you can kind of see this fluctuate a little bit. So you see, throughout the year. And you might see, well, there's some pretty high ones there, 86, 80. And I think that's normal. And the reason that's normal is because we have a lot of times when we're recruiting for police staff, we're also doing background checks and all kinds of things. And those take a little bit longer. So we're doing the process. You would expect that. But on average, we're actually below kind of many of the municipalities. NeoGov has a way for me to look at some of the data and insights, and we're at 44 days trending in 2025. We're at 40 right now in 2026. So again, really good. That means within almost a month and a half, we're getting somebody back into that seat. And again, this is just another look, like slice at the data, right? And this just goes back to showing you that in 2025 and 2026, if you're looking at this, again, you can see the first quarters of 2025 and 2026. This is just comparing the same time periods. We've got a lot more job applications, right? Again, the applications per gender staying pretty well, that 60-40 split, 50-60 split, or 50-50 split. So again, really healthy and, actually really benefits us. All right, so we've talked a little bit about that. I'd love to get into promotions. So you'll see this slide here, and this is kind of just talking about 25 and 26, 2025 and 2026. So just a little bit on this. We've had 4 promotions in 2025. In 2026, we've had to date 6 promotions, which is great. An average, you can see an average salary increase, which again is pretty standard for a promotion. To have that amount. So we're, again, really healthy and in line with that. Gender distribution, again, if you look at the promotions, 60-40 split on that. So again, all this is telling me it's healthy data. This is what you would want to see. And then average in the position is 2 to 3 years. I think just looking at the last 2 years, our earliest position, somebody was in a position for 7 months, promoted, and then 4 years was probably the longer one. So, but you might want to know a little bit more about who has gotten promoted. So I want to take a moment just to show some faces and kind of their moves here. So you'll see Michelle. Michelle, she joined us as a record supervisor, evidence technician 1. She promoted into a records clerk. Sorry if I said supervisor, records clerk, evidence technician 2. So she went from a 1 to a 2. And 2025, Kaylee went from an HR finance clerk 1 to an HR finance clerk 2. We had Ryan Corbett, who ended up promoting from a construction inspector 1 to a construction inspector 2. And then Jose. Jose is somebody that started with us as a rec assistant, and he is now working at the community center at the front desk. So that was a neat promotion for him. So again, those are our 2025 promotions. And then we get into 2026. I don't know if you noticed this mug up here on the left. He might be sitting in the room with us, but no, Alex. Alex, he promoted from planner 1 to planner 2. We're really proud of him for that. Caitlin, she ended up promoting from a rec coordinator 2 to a rec supervisor. And I have a little bit more on her a little bit later in her journey, but the 2 Jordans that you see there, they're in our public works team. They went from a maintenance worker 1 to maintenance worker 2. And then you see Tony, who's a maintenance worker 1 also, and he moved to maintenance worker 3. And then finally, kind of our more recent promotion is Clara. And Clara moved from actually not so much up a level or anything. She actually moved from our administrative clerk that sits at the front desk here at Town Hall. And now she's a recreation coordinator 1. So again, a lot of great movement. So one thing I try to do, because there's a lot of ways to slice and dice this stuff. I just want to try to make this as digestible as possible. And so one of the things I did was I tried to take and I broke up our salary grades. So we have a salary grade, the civilian salary grades, and I kind of broke them up into groupings. And I'm gonna call this and this is generalized. I didn't put real scientific stuff to this, but you can probably get where I'm going here, is that if you see kind of that group 1, that's your entry level folks, right? That's your entry level people, your technicians, those that are just maybe starting their career with us. Level 2 is more of your maybe mid-level. They're a little bit more specialized, more a little technician. And then level 3 is a lot of times mid to senior level. And then you get to 4, and that's, your managers, executives, and that type. So what I think is, again, is really healthy, and this shows is that, hey, in our last couple years, all the movement has really been in the grades 1 and 2, which means we're helping people grow their career here at the town of Mead. That's a really great story for us to tell to our employees and to our citizens. All right, so I do want to take a step back and also recognize those that have also been promoted. So, I'm just going to kind of quickly read through this. Again, we've had a lot of public works folks. So maintenance worker 1 to maintenance worker 2, Trent had promoted. Seasonal maintenance workers. So we've had quite a few seasonal maintenance workers go from being seasonal to being hired as a 1. In fact, I'm just going to say shameless plug here. We just posted that position. So the seasonal maintenance worker. So if you happen to know anybody, I'll just mention that we would love to have people apply. So again, another great story of having people continue with us. A recreation assistant. So Candace started as a recreation assistant, and now she's working for the front desk. We had Colin, who was a planner 1 and got promoted to a planner 2. And you can see Dino. Dino started as a construction inspector and was promoted into a senior construction inspector. So, and then Helen was our town engineer, started as our town engineer, and is now our town manager. So again, a lot of great movement. Now, there's a couple people I have missed in that, Mary and Lorelei. And I will say this, we've even had multiple promotions, and I thought this was great to highlight as well, right? So again, you saw the picture of Caitlin earlier. She started as a rec aide for us. Again, that's part-time. And then she worked into a rec coordinator 2, and now she's a rec supervisor. So again, a really great story to tell there. Mary, I don't know if you all know Mary's journey here, but Mary started as our admin clerk. So she started at the front desk. She became the town clerk. Then she became the town clerk and treasurer, and then moved into admin services director. So again, a nice journey for her. And then Lorelei, she started as a rec coordinator, became our public information officer, and then became our communications director. So again, not only are we having promotions, but we're also seeing journey with those promotions. All right. And, I don't want to forget our police, because a lot of that was more civilian, but we did have some, promotions that have happened with our police. Actually, 2 of our sergeants that you see, Sergeant Ellis and Sergeant Salazar, they were both police officers with us and have been, promoted into sergeants. And then kind of a neat story for the patrol people down at the bottom, Officer Aguirre, Officer Hansen and Officer Bagano, they are our SROs. So you might see them at the schools, but kind of a neat story there. So if you're wondering about the police have a different pay plan than civilians, right? So what happens with police is they have these different steps. They have 6 steps. Now we started back when with less. So we have seen this a little bit more. We've had one employee actually, I think it's Hansen, go through all of 6 steps with us. So started as a police officer 1, became a police officer 2, police officer 3, police officer 4, and he's up to a 6. But again, kind of a neat story. Most, all of kind of an average, our police officers have moved about 3 steps in their journey here. So again, really great story, as well as I think the distribution here just shows that it's healthy. We have a mix of senior staff as well as staff that are, more newer to the town of Mead and to policing. So great story there. All right. So my last slide here, I just want to tell you a little bit more about some HR happenings, just to kind of let you all know that's what's going on. So we do a compensation study. Obviously, this is how we keep our employees, right? Is the compensation studies that we do. So we'll be doing that this year. I know we're already starting to meet with them, and you'll be starting to see stuff in August, like last year, August and September. I don't know if you remember this, but last year we talked a little bit about our benefits being, year over year, they've kind of trended up higher. So that kind of second bullet there is we went out for a bid for a benefit consultant. We just want to make sure we have the right partner to take our town to, our town employees to the right places that we need to be. So that's coming up. We put that out, and we'll probably be making some decisions, and you'll be involved or be notified about what's going on there. We also have an employee handbook revision, which is exciting. I know not everybody sees as exciting, but I think it's great because it's a way that we as, staff can set expectations for our employees. This is what we expect. This is, and it's a just chance to make sure that we're staying up to date with everything that's going on. And then finally, not last, they're at the top, the quarterly leadership development meeting. So we've been meeting quarterly to kind of as a leadership team, and what that is, it's directors, it's managers, and we're just doing sharpening of our skills. So we're getting a chance to just be better leaders. And I always think that trickles down to our staff. So while the staff is not involved, I think this is going to be a great opportunity. We're getting ready to do strength finders. I don't know if anybody's familiar with strength finders, but we're going to be doing some strength finders with our leadership team. So we're really looking forward to that. So again, I guess in general, just I think we're in a really good spot. I think we've got some really great things going on for our employees, and I just want to thank you for this time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Outstanding. And so sorry again for
No,
pushing you behind, you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody have any questions for Josh tonight? Oh,
I had
come back.
Josh, sit up. Get up here.
Yep.
Your one chart that showed the different grades had 10%, 90%. That pie chart?
Yeah,
had? Okay. It seems that, are we bottleneck there at 90%, that grade level too? Because it doesn't seem like we're flowing into 3s and 4s. Is that a matter of time?
No, so actually, interesting that you should mention that. So one thing that like if I would have gone back years, what you would have probably seen is more going from 2s into 3s and 3s into 4s. Yeah. So there is some movement there. The other thing that I'll just kind of quickly point out that kind of maybe throws a little bit of that off is we don't have a lot of positions in the 1. To be honest. So if you're going, well, gosh, that doesn't seem like a lot for 1. Well, yeah, there's not like a lot of people, we have a lot more people in the 2 and the
Right.
3 kind of section.
It shows that you got the majority of people in the 2s.
Yeah. So I think that's,
And that could just be a matter of time
Mhm.
as people migrate through.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. Thank you.
If I can add to that though, too. So it was the majority of the promotions were in the 2 category, and a lot of those categories have a position of a 1, 2, or a 3. So it's a maintenance worker 1, 2, or 3. We built in career ladders that people can move through.
Right.
We don't have, for example, a public works director 1, 2, or 3.
Right. Right.
Right. So that's why you'll see more there.
Yeah. I think to add to what Mary's saying is that typically, like what we find if you're in the 3 and the 4, guess what? You're probably going to be in those positions a little bit longer, right? 4 to 7 years.
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever.
That's why I say it could be
Yeah.
a component of time.
Certainly.
Thanks, Josh.
Good.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to public comment. The board welcomes public comment at this time for any item on the agenda. We will also take comments on the items not on the agenda during the second public comment, number 10. Please remember that public comment is not intended to be a question and answer session. The board will listen to your comments and take them into consideration. All comments should be directed to the Board of Trustees and not to specific individuals. If you wish to speak during the first public comment period, please adhere to the town's general guidelines. Please start by stating your full name and address for the record. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the Board of Trustees. If you are representing a group, you will have 5 minutes. We ask that all speakers and audience members treat one another with respect and dignity. Let's ensure we maintain a welcoming environment and avoid any actions that could be distracting. Ms. Strutt, do we have anyone signed in for this public comment period?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak to the Board of Trustees on an agenda item? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items which are considered routine and are approved with one motion and vote. I want to recognize the staff for putting together these items tonight and for the board for reviewing them again ahead of the meeting. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as is.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Schranz.
Yes.
Trustee Crane.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. Motion carries for consent agenda, and thank you everyone for putting this together for us tonight. We have no further general business, so this brings us to our second regular public comment period, which would be for any item, whether it's on the agenda or not. We will follow the same guidelines previously stated. I'll call on individuals in the order which they have signed in. Again, I ask all speakers and audience members to treat one another with respect and dignity. Mary, is there anyone signed up for this public comment period?
Brian Fessler.
All right, sir, you have the poem. Go. Make sure you say your name and address for the record.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Brian.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Board of Trustees. My name is Brian Fessler. I reside at 16927 McKay Drive here in Mead. I serve as the president of the Highlands Mead Metropolitan District. Madam Mayor, I respectfully request up to 5 minutes as I'm speaking on behalf of a
granted.
group.
So
Thank you,
granted.
ma'am. Appreciate that. This is my fourth consecutive month addressing the board regarding approximately 1.6 million in unresolved developer deficiencies in Phase 1, along with the town's continued difficulties in enforcing its obligations. The town attorney recently characterized my updates as repetitious. I would respectfully suggest that what's being described as repetition is, in reality, persistence in the face of an issue that remains unresolved. When clear evidence existed that the developer was not meeting its obligations, action was required under the governing agreements and applicable ordinances. First, building permits for subsequent subphases should not have been issued, an action that, in my view, should have started to occur in 2022 once it became apparent that the developer would not fulfill its commitments. Second, the town should have drawn on the letters of credit. Instead, we were informed last month by the town manager and the town attorney that those instruments were allowed to expire. Third, the town retains authority to withhold certificates of occupancy. With approximately 8 homes still available for sale at an average price of roughly $600,000, there remains an estimated $4.8 million in available leverage. I would encourage the board to carefully consider whether that authority should be exercised before it is no longer available. At its core, this matter concerns the town's responsibility to 200 homeowners and taxpayers. These residents are not developers. They purchased homes in good faith within the town of Mead and relied on the town to enforce the subdivision improvement agreement, the Mead Municipal Code, and its resolutions. That trust has not been fully honored. I do appreciate that the board recently convened in an executive session to receive legal advice and discuss negotiation strategy. However, communication with the district continues to be largely one-sided. As district president, I continue to request updates and receive little to no substantive response. Unfortunately, the same issues observed in Phase 1, which we've been talking about now for a long time, are now emerging in Phase 2. On October 1st, 2025, this board granted conditional acceptance of landscaping in Phase 2. The Mead Municipal Code requires the developer to maintain that landscape for 2 years, specifies that the developer shall, at their own expense, take all actions necessary to maintain, repair, and replace those improvements for 2 years. Despite this, the developer recently informed me that because the town granted acceptance, we all know that's conditional acceptance, but they're interpreting that as final acceptance, that the maintenance responsibilities now rest with the district. It's only been 8 months since you issued your last conditional acceptance for a 2-year period, and the developer is walking away from their responsibilities. The developer has already ceased essential maintenance in Phase 2, including trash removal, mowing, irrigation repairs, replacement of dead landscaping, and general upkeep. In addition, infrastructure has been permanently and prematurely transferred into the district's name. How is that possible? Including water taps with significant outstanding balances put in the district's name without town final approval, without our approval as a district. There's also above ground irrigation lines in Phase 2, which you have a copy of, with breaks in approximately 25 locations, which prevent proper system pressurization and effective irrigation without substantial repair. They're sitting above ground. On its face, this appears retaliatory in nature for me raising these concerns to the Board of Trustees. At this point, the board should be asking staff why conditional acceptance of phase 2 was recommended while significant unresolved issues remain in phase 1. The district will continue to take limited action to prevent further deterioration, protect those public improvements, and address health and safety concerns while these matters remain unresolved between the town and the developer. This reflects our duty of care, which you all take the same oath that I take. However, it is not a substitute for formal enforcement by the town. If roles were reversed and the district were improperly shifting costs to the town, I dare say that all of you would not allow that to continue. The 200 homeowners and taxpayers that I represent are simply asking for the same standard to be applied here. I know you have an executive session coming up. I would let you know that the total amount that the district has spent on phase 1 and now phase 2 is approaching $280,000. We seek restitution. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fessler, for being here with us tonight. Appreciate it. All right. Is there anyone here else that would like to speak to the Board of Trustees? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to our legislative update. 2 more days, sir.
Trustees, the session is currently scheduled to end Wednesday, the 13th. A couple of just good news items as we're approaching the end of the session. House Bill 261253, which was the Town of Mead's bill that was introduced by Senator Kirkmeyer on the town's behalf. That was passed. I did mention at the last update that I gave that was just awaiting the governor's signature. The governor has now signed that. In fact, he signed it on May 4th. So that bill has been finalized. I did mention also at the last session that House Bill 261114, which is one of the 2 lot splitting bills, was defeated. The other lot splitting bill, House Bill 261308, was also postponed indefinitely. So that bill was also killed during the session, which is good news. Senate Bill 26093 was a workers' compensation insurance bill that was heavily amended in the House. It now only requires a contractor seeking a permit or license from a local government to provide a declaration verifying that the contractor has the required workers' compensation insurance. The amended version removes the requirement for a local government to investigate coverage-related complaints or violations. So that's a big win for local government, removing that independent investigation requirement. Finally, Senate Bill 26070. This is a bill that I mentioned during our last regular meeting. This is the bill that would have banned law enforcement's ability to gather historical location information from various online databases. That was also postponed indefinitely and killed during the session. So that's also very good news. So those are the ones I wanted to highlight for you tonight. Again, happy to stand for any questions, but we do have 2 days left at this point. And I will plan at the next meeting to provide kind of an overview of I'll call it the top 4 or 5 bills that passed during the session and the potential impact on the town.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yep.
Questions or comments? All right. Thank you very much. 48 hours. All right. We'll move on to elected official reports. The town trustees would like to mention anything tonight. Trustee Cartwright.
I just have a quick question for Marcus. Recently, there's been a major increase in the number of, I'm going to call them motorized bicycles, or not e-bikes, which are different. E-bikes have pedals. Motorized bikes do not, or bicycles do not. I know there's an ordinance in place at the state level, or statute at the state level, doesn't directly address motorized bicycles. it addresses e-bikes, it addresses other things. I'm wondering if it's possible for us to be able to give a little bit of teeth to our code enforcement and police department to do something to perhaps keep unlicensed drivers off of motor bikes that would help prevent accidents before they happen. We've seen a few accidents. There was one in California, an 81-year-old man was killed by a 14-year-old. And there's been two in the last 2 days here in Colorado that happened, all based on children riding those motorized bicycles or motor bikes. Is there something that we can do to maybe put an ordinance in place to keep them a bit more in line? I'm not asking you to say yes or no, but can we look into that?
Happy to look into it if that's the direction from the majority of the board. To look into that. I mean, I don't know the answer off the top. What I do know is that there was a news blast out at Children's Hospitals talking about the vast increase in injuries that they're seeing at their various facilities due to the those motorized bikes and other scooters. So I think there's a marked increase in the number of injuries to children and folks that the children might hit, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's something that we could look into, but I don't want to start spending research time unless that's something that the majority of the board directs my office to do. So,
Well, I would echo some of Trustee Cartwright's concerns. What I see happening a lot, not necessarily on the public roads, but it's on our trail system. I see an awful lot of motorized scooters that are flying on those paths, e-bikes, motorbikes, quads, all on the paths. And that's a very narrow strip. That's 6 foot wide. Not much room for a motorized vehicle and a pedestrian to do that. So it's an addition to the public street issue. And we have signs posted, no motorized vehicles, but I'm with Trustee Cartwright. I don't know what is a motorized vehicle anymore. If it's got a battery, is that a motorized vehicle? I don't know. But I do see an awful lot of traffic on our trail system. And I don't think that's what our trails are designed for.
I'm looking into it. You know, I can do it, see what options we have available. I'm fine with him looking into it.
okay, great, we'll do.
Thank you, Marcus.
Anything else?
Hmm.
Okay. I just want to let you know that I visited the elementary school during Teacher Appreciation Week last week, and very nice to sit with our principals and see what's going on and letting them know what we're doing here and making sure we're trying to keep everybody safe and some families and the children. Coffee with the Mayor was a huge success. Our regular Dr. Cog and RTC meetings are coming up, and Trustee Adams and I had the privilege to go to Seattle this last week, and we went to visit the Puget Sound Regional Council, which is the Dr. Cog up there. We did get to go on the transit and walking tour through Seattle, went up to Redmond and got to hear Mayor Bernie from Redmond, Washington, and speak about what they're going through up there. We actually came back and we rode the train back, which was very interesting, and went and did some panels on housing and lessons learned from up there. And we took a lot of questions and answers back with us. And then we had several table discussions on, what's working and what's not working in these different regions around transportation and area aging and regional growth. We also went to the waterfront promenade down in Seattle there. It was very interesting when we also went on a walking tour, there was no rain whatsoever. So that was probably the biggest gratitude, no umbrellas that week. but we got to see and visit a stretch of 2 miles by the waterfront that they took down the actual highway and they put it underground. So it was very interesting to walk through the process of many, many years of, I think it started when there was the earthquake in the early 2000s that took kind of this spiral trying to figure out how to move people and goods throughout that region. So it was very interesting, and how the bore got stuck way down deep, and was very interesting how that whole process went. It took 3 years for them to actually bore through underneath, and it goes from 50 feet down to 150 feet and back up to 50 feet. So I thought it was very interesting that, we have a region here that's, kind of more, not as packed as Seattle, but it was very interesting, and I'm grateful for the time that the town has allowed both of us to represent the town of Mead. So we had a wonderful time and glad to be back. So thank you. And that concludes my report. We need to go into executive session. And before we do that motion, I just want to let you know, we're going to do the executive session in this room, and we'll ask everyone to go into the foyer. After that, we'll go into an adjournment and a work session on strategic planning after that. So you may stick around or you can head on home, but I would ask for a motion to go into executive session if somebody wants to do that, or someone could read that out loud for the record. That would be appreciated.
I move that we go into executive session pursuant to CRS sections 24-6-402 4B and 24-6-402 4E for conference with the town attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions relating to the subdivision improvements agreement for the Highlands Mead subdivision, to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, develop strategy for negotiations, and instruct the negotiators regarding status of public improvements in the Highlands Mead subdivision and potential settlement agreement.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
trustee Shranz.
Yes.
Trustee Crane,
Yes.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. The time now is 6:51, and we will turn off the recording and adjourn to executive session, and we will restart the recording for the executive session.
And Mayor, if I may, with the issues we're having with the video, I am going to stop the Zoom recording now completely. There has been nobody on the Zoom meeting at all tonight.
Thank you, Mary.
So I will not open it back up.
When we conclude the executive session, we'll open the doors.
Yep. So we're going to stop the recording.